So I'm not going to be using the shifter cables anymore on my project. So as I started to pull the cables out, I thought I would shoot a little video on what I did to get to the two bolts that hold that little panel in under the dash, and what I had to take loose to get the cables out from underneath the dash. This car already has the shifter out of it and the motor's out of the way. But taking the shifter off and taking the clips off and stuff at the front to get the cables loose from the motor and loose from the shifter, that's the easy part. Getting them two little bolts out from underneath that heater core AC box, that's the hard part. Anyway, this is just a little bit of video I shot while I was trying to yank it out. Hopefully it helps somebody. Ah yes, not going to need that shifter and shift cables anymore. Going to be swapping it out for a slightly different one. Let the fun begin. These shift cables go right through this rubber boot. But the good part is that rubber boot's held with two bolts from the inside. So the struggle is real. And what you're seeing here is me doing this for the first time in a complete car. I've only ever done it before as part of stripping a car out for all the parts. When you get around here to the inside, those two bolts are, if I'm guessing right or if I remember right, right about here. Very little clearance to get to them. And when those cables go under through this, this has to be unbolted. And I believe that's the only part that the cables will actually not go under through. So I'm going to be having some fun crawling around inside of the car. All right, to gain access to all this, two bolts right here and here come out. This will pull down. You'll have to get your OBD plug out, and that's just a matter of pushing those two pins back and it'll snap out of this hole. I am lucky enough to have my hood release already disconnected on this car. But if it's not disconnected, either disconnect the hood release from the lever, or you can just take these two screws out right here and that whole assembly will come out, and just leave it on the hood release cable. Then this comes off. It's got a little tab that goes into this over here. And this has two screws in it. Now I believe the fun that I'm going to have comes in deciding what I need to take off and what I can leave on. Decision has to be made as to what needs to come out. I may have to take this support out to get it out of my way. The cables are right there. I'm not sure if I'll need that support out, but I will need this box out of here. Those are Torx screws in there. And then once I've got that out, and hopefully get a ratcheting box end on the bolt that holds the little grommet gasket that the cables go through, get it pulled loose and maybe get it all wiggled out of there. And then I got to seal that hole back up. Over on this side, I pulled this Torx bolt out right here, and there's a number 10 bolt. That's an additional support for the shift cables. That's going to have to come loose. Now we'll go back around to the other side. Back over here on the driver's side, I pulled this out of here. It's just a foam pad insulation sound deadener. So now that we got the insulation out of the way, like I said, I've pulled on the wire and broke that clip out of the way. You can see a bolt right here. That bolt has to come out, and bolt right up there. that bolt has to come out, and then this rubber seal will be able to come loose, and the cables will be able to be pulled out of there, I hope. Well, once we get that clamp loose on the other side. All right, back over at the workbench, because I'm going to show you something that's saved my ass many times. Ta-da! Ratcheting box ends. Let's see if we can get that bolt out with those. First thing we're going to go after is this little bracket right here. Right here, this nut right here. Need to work on my lighting a little bit here. Whoops, wrong way. Now the best part of this is, as I'm taking all this stuff out of here, all I have to do on this car, because of that and that shifter right there, is get these cables out. I don't have to put new ones in. Yeah, all I can say is best of luck to anybody that has to put these bolts back in. They're pretty damn hard to get out. I can't imagine how much fun they'd be to put back in. And now I can't remember for sure if this clamp wraps around these cables or just lays over the top of them. But I think even if I just get it loose, once that rubber grommet up there is out of there with the cables, I believe I should have enough room. I dropped the bolt into a bunch of wiring down here to, yeah, it goes around them. So maybe that'll wiggle its way out of there. I still have one screw right here that needs to be loosened up on the airbag module. And of course the 2 bolts up there. This could get fun. So far I've only had to go back and re-record something one time because I didn't actually hit the record button. Trying to pay more attention to that. So I'm able to get on this bolt right here with a 1/4 inch ratchet. And yes, that is working. Ah, there goes the light. Alright, I'm going to pull that bolt the rest of the way out and I'll be back. Alright, yes sir, that wrench is on there. I cannot video and work on it at the same time. It only took about 2 minutes to get her lined up with it and get all the insulation stuff out of the way, but well, now I'm going to pull on it and see if the bolt actually turns. It turned. It clicked. Okay, I'm going to have to give up the camera and work on getting that bolt out. A little bit hard to see down in there with the camera, but I'm using a screwdriver on top of the wrench to keep the wrench from popping off of the bolt. Alright, with both bolts out, I think I can see light at the end of the tunnel. But that could just be a rapidly approaching train. And there I was, having to take more stuff out. So you got a screw here, Phillips screws, screw here, and screw here. Down in the bottom down there, you have a 10mm bolt head, and right down here, another 10mm bolt head. This whole thing drops down. Oh yeah, probably should say there's little stoppers here that just twist out, so this will swing down out of your way, give you more room. And you just press the little clip right there and release this wire. And all I did is twisted and pulled on this and yanked it out of the hole. But my little clip right there broke off, so now I'm going to have to push on it with a scribe right here to get it to pop out. And I'll just lay that back here on top of my motor. Try not to scratch it too much. inside kick panel, screw right here, and then it just pulls out. And I'm going to take this bolt out of here, this bolt here, and probably take this ground wire loose, and this will swing out of the way, and I'll be able to get to that last bolt that's holding that airbag module in. And I'll have to take this out so that this will be able to back out of the way for all it to move. All right, once I got all that loose, took that loose so it would back up, I was able to just pull it out a little bit on the bottom, and that's the last bolt I need to loosen up. Now I believe, looking at it, if I get that airbag module loose and slid out of the way, the cables will come out into the car and probably clear everything. And we're on the move again, back to what would be underneath the car, but I'm in the engine bay because no motor. This bolts onto these two bolts right here. If I can get my comes loose. So what I'm going to do is pull this bracket. See how it's wiggling in the rubber? I'm going to just pop that out of that rubber out of that bracket, and then it'll all slide through the hole. And I'm going to try, because it's the first time I've ever done this with everything in the car like it is, I'm going to try pulling those cables out going into the car. That clamp actually pulled off of that rubber piece a lot easier than I thought it would. All right, lay these down straight. This pipe right here, that's my Impala motor fuel line. Disregard if you're looking at this just to get your shift cables changed in your Celica. Well, well, well. So now what I have is shift cables right here, and I have to slide them out from underneath everything. One of the biggest problems here is getting angles that the camera and the light can see. One of the biggest problems here is getting angles where you can see what I'm doing and I can still work. But you can see that plate's wiggling right there. It's catching on the bottom of that rubber, so I'm going to have to lift up on it. The rubber's actually trying to... get that all on top. All right, it's moving the direction I want it to move. Now, it's going to be really tight coming through there, but it's going to clear. It really looks like it is going to clear. So, what I have to do now is lift this up to get everything under through it as it comes back. And I'm probably not going to be able to do that with the camera in one hand. And there's that little rubber stopper coming through there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. So it's going to have to be lifted up with a screwdriver to get it to come over the top. I'm going to do this at home. Get a little bit of help. Somebody under the car helping you out. Aha! It's over. That's the first hurdle cleared. Now you can see this is starting to come under through the air box for the AC unit already. Then it's just going to be a matter of jacking this up and sliding it back through this little gap right here where everything comes through. Looking at it now, taking this loose to let it swing around might help a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet or not. I will try to advance my position a little bit and rejoin you. That metal plate is now coming out right here. It was all the way up there. I did have to keep, jockeying this up a little bit to keep that rubber grommet loose. I mean, you're going to have things catching on stuff all the way through there. You can see that well, I think you can see it. Yeah, there it is. The airbag module has slid over to the passenger side, which is helping me. And I'm just lifting it up and letting stuff slide under through. Now my next thing is going to happen is coming through that hole is going to be the ends of the cables, and they're going to hang up, so I'm going to have to get underneath of it with a screwdriver, of course, jockey them around again. But right now, everything seems to be clearing, and I haven't had to disconnect any wiring harnesses except for the clips on this wiring harness. Oh, and one more clip right here on this wiring harness that actually just was underneath tape and disconnected itself. So I'm gonna work it back a little more, and I will be back again. Okay, as long as I'm not even gone yet. This is catching on something in here. So one of the things you want to be careful with is catching on wiring. And I may be, no, I'm not caught on any wiring. I'm just caught on the bottom edge of the whole plastic box a little bit. Right about here though, like I said, you're going to need to take a lot of care in the wiring. Your other option is to disconnect all of these wires, and I really don't feel like doing that today. All right, I'm stuck at the front. I think my cable ends are coming through. I'll be back. All right, I'm back again. Did you miss me? That only took about a minute or two. Once I had both hands, I was able to raise this up a little bit, and this metal plate slid right under through there. Now I'm going to go to the front. And of course, if you have an engine in your car, you'll be crawling underneath the car doing this. Yep, the ends are trying to come through. Oh, would help if I point the camera at what I'm trying to do, even though it's kind of dark up there. Just jockeying them around and getting them to slide through. Easier if I didn't have my new fuel line in the way. All right, let's see if we can drag them on out of there. I'm just gonna grab them and yank. No, I'm not. Victory! Ta-da! All right, and that's how you take shift cables out of a Toyota Celica. This was not a tutorial. This was follow me while I do something for the first time. I have taken shift cables out of a car, but that car was completely stripped down. Didn't have any of the dash in it or anything, so was nothing to do it. Was nothing to doing that. But anyway, they're out. That's how it works. And now I know you don't have to try to separate the rubber from the metal. And once you take them out that way, you can probably get them back in, all except for that bolt that's way up at the forward corner. That's going to be really hard to put back in. Best of luck if you're putting cables back in. As always, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. I got a couple of really neat projects going on. This one and that one way over there. That one's super long-term project, but thanks for watching. With both bolts out. Okay, stop, start over. Let's do this again. Take 3. I'm gonna take this bolt third time. Third time usually works really good. All right, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was taking this metal plate off because I'm gonna need it as a template. Ow, god damn it, son of a. Okay, we're gonna have to edit that out. Try to take the top of my head off.